Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So we were doing a deep dive over on Evolutionary, and now we're going to do a little change up and go the news route here on EEARTS lately because they've been demonetizing like every single video. And that's just the first step. Then they take away the monetization permanently, and then they just block them, basically. That's what they do. And we do want to thank our Patreons again. Every video goes up on Patreon, and there's also exclusive videos up there about every third day or so. So China brings back, you know what, facial coverings and social distancing as this new outbreak occurs. And, you know, we're not going to really delve into that new outbreak. Again, it's a respiratory one. You know, I always look at things and think from the perspective of somebody that always goes the natural route. And my first thought is always build your immune system. I mean, to me, build your immune system. It's just so basic and so obvious, you know. And yeah, how do you do that? Well, exercise, healthy lifestyle, clean foods, good clean air. And the clean foods and the good clean air is really, really tough when there's all sorts of stuff up in the sky every day. We do understand that.
Oh, I know. And when it comes to a healthy immune system, I mean, that's something that really can be obtained by everyone. And they don't like competition. They don't like things being out there that everyone could do for themselves. So they do these things, put these blocks in place. And this is so sad because, I mean, it affects families in such a big way. And when this rolled through last time, their control unit, there were so many people that could not even say their final goodbyes to loved ones. And I think that probably really bothered me quite a bit, that people weren't, you know, their elderly had to die alone. I mean, our elderly are so critically important. They're sacred. They have information within them that we just, you cannot get that back. I mean, we need to hear their stories. We need to be interested in what they have to say. They grew up with a lot of things. They know a lot of things when it comes to farming, when it comes to planting, when it comes to gardening. And unfortunately, it really was targeted huge, our elderly, and having them be given the cures. And we know what happened there. So this is just happening again. Now they have a whole lot of laws in place, which I'm concerned about too. I feel like this is a trial. It's like they did the initial one. They put some laws in place. Now let's see how this one goes.
Absolutely. And the world is pushing back, as we know. And, you know, again, if we can't really say much more. We might have said too much already that this gets taken down. Just that simple. But that's the world that we are in. They say hospitals in Beijing and Liaoning have been hit the hardest with them being overwhelmed with sick children. You know, we know some amazing people that are raising kids entirely off the system, even from not going to a hospital to give birth, not even having a midwife. Did it totally by themselves. Not that we're recommending that, but everybody's got to, you know, listen to your gut. And, you know, for so many that are watching right now, your gut has taken you so far, and your intuition's only going to get stronger as time goes on. So there is a interesting eruption going on right now. As you see, it's almost an X class. I think they were saying like an M 9.86. 9.8, yeah. So we have a significant event underway, a solar flare. We're going to have to see what this does. Certainly when it's this big, whether it's Earth directing or not, again, the guides have told us that this will affect our consciousness. This will affect the ascension process. So what we have going on is the natural, the ascension process, and the unnatural, which is everything that the system does to stop the ascension process. They're really trying to stop the ascension process. They can slow it down. And if people choose to give away their freedom, then yeah, I suppose they can, you know, stop it in some people. It's again a choice. It's all about choosing. But then again, so many people in this world have been making choices based on the information that they've gotten from that same system themselves. And so, heighten your ability to perceive that which may be not in your best interest. How do you do that? Well, again, you try to get as clean as you could. And it could be as simple as, quitting drinking alcohol and stopping taking in all these things into your system that cloud your judgment.
I can tell you with this solar flare or sun stream that we have, the cosmic weather that's going on right now, this is affecting people's immune system in a positive way. So I want you guys to do your best to consciously sit, take this energy in, and let it help you, because this is going to be an upgrade that we haven't really had before. So I'm really curious to see how this happens. This is going to affect the immune system in a positive way. The best way to get these rays into our body is drink plenty of water. That's how the transfer of information occurs easiest.
Something felt different a couple days ago. It started to feel different. Cindy and I both woke up and we both felt a little bit more optimistic. Like something had shifted, and it shifted in a little bit more of a positive direction. I felt this at different times, at key times. And I do think we might have already gone through a WW3 scenario perhaps 4 years earlier than what was the timeline that we've been in. And I'm kind of wondering if our timeline has shifted again, because it feels like something has shifted. And talking to our regular clients that we talk to, usually on a every 2-week basis, is what is most common. It seems like a lot of people have picked up on that too. Something has changed. Something has shifted. It feels like maybe humanity's pushing back has made them decide to go to maybe it's really a plan C at this point, or plan D, or maybe it's plan Z. We don't know how many different plans humanity's awakening or lack thereof has changed. But they do have all sorts of contingencies, because, again, the controllers use AI. So they calculate everything to the highest probability, and then if it gets to a certain level, they'll just shift. And they'll go, they'll be like, okay, well, we have 91% of probability of success over here, but now that this has changed over here, if we do things this way, we have 91.2%. Do you think we should shift? And the consortium will check, and and maybe they do shift to another plan. Time will tell. But the creator of this universe, source, and all the benevolent beings are definitely out there helping us. And when we see things like this, I always think this is a good thing. I don't ever look at the sun in a negative light. Many of you guys have made comments too, saying, well, if there is that big, massive solar flare, at least it would fry their systems. Absolutely. They are the ones that are so dependent on technology, and they have gotten us in this age to be as dependent, or close to as dependent as they are. But they literally have the technology coursing through every single aspect of their beings. Thankfully, most humans are not at that point yet.
No, I mean, just stay positive, stay organic, stay on the trail that you are on, continue to step your way out of the system, and you'll do fine.
So the refilling of the strategic petroleum reserve slowed by companies delaying return of borrowed barrels. It's interesting, isn't it, not that we got to such a critical level in the strategic reserve, and it could have been refilled at any time, and in reality it could have been refilled at a much cheaper cost, and yet again, all the decisions that are made, they're either made out of what we could only look at as just abject sheer ignorance. Well, that's, again, if you're perceiving the government to work for the people and to actually work at protecting the citizens of that said country, like in this case, United States, Or if it's really trying to do the exact opposite, as we've talked about the Trojan horse, and leave the door wide open on purpose, that certainly was what it looked to be doing. So here you have a delaying of returning borrowed barrels, slowing down the refilling. There's all these different signs out there that we're shifting perspective. This is Elon, by the way. Again, richest man or one of the richest men in the world. Wow, this is wild. As you see him quoting, many people insist the governments aren't involved in censorship, but they are, and now a whistleblower has come forward with an explosive new trove of documents showing that the US and UK military contractors created sweeping plan for global censorship in 2018. Of course, at the end of 2019, we were hit with the plague upon the land. Is it a coincidence? No, of course not. And has the fall guy been kind of noted? Well, it seems so, because again, the plans, it seems, are the elimination of the US and NATO from primacy as far as being the central power structure militarily, and thus in so many other ways economically too, and the shifting to the BRICS nations. Well, they're certainly rolling it out there, so after the war is over, everybody could point the fingers and say it was all the US and UK and NATO's fault. And meanwhile, we have these things coming out. And so there's many polls, and we know we don't believe in polls, but we look at the polls to see what are they trying to program into our consciousness. What do they want us thinking? And here we have a statement that number 45 won all 50 states if the absentee ballots weren't counted. And, you got to recognize, where are we? We are now less than a year away from the next election, if that takes place. And that's a big thing that people are betting on. I think it's pretty much 50-50 if, people feel that it will actually take place. And maybe it doesn't even need to take place, because maybe other things are going to happen where it is not even a factor, ultimately. So, these revelations that are coming out. And this is a new video on 45. And just to take away the sound in case there's any sort of thing that gets blocked from being, this is what happens. That song came up and you're blocked from showing this video in the UK and the US. Oh, okay. Because that type of thing does happen with background noises, sound statements, things. So this is a new one put out by 45. Remember, I know you guys that follow us and have followed us for years. Remember, right before the last election, right before we actually found out what happened, the guides came through and they said it's going to look like he's gone. 45's gone, but he's not. Now, with all the ensuing events, some, and even us, we were wondering, is he really going to get reinstated? Is something going to come out, in the first year, in the first few months, or maybe 2 years down the line, and still we are here and nothing has happened? And we understand from our point of view, this is all for show, but it still is something that affects the consciousness of everybody. We understand that this is not the real government. No, not at all. 45 doesn't really make decisions. 46 doesn't either. In fact, none of them have for a very long time. It was even founded, the country was founded by secret societies. Again, it's all about stroking that patriotism. And that works with a lot of people. It works with a ton of people. That idea that, you're born into the greatest country in the world, whichever country you are born into, because it's going to be used in any country, in just in different ways. And, there's something here. And Cindy says, yes, she picks up a lot of subliminal programming. I've always said that their real desire is to create a civil war first before everything else happens and the Red Dawn happens. And this is very eerie. Trump military policy 45 said he was prevented during his presidency from using the military to quell violence in the U.S., hinted at a possible policy change if he wins in 2024. Well, we are in the Pluto return, and it's almost complete. And what does that mean when Pluto returns to its original position where it was, with whether it's a person? Well, people don't in this age live long enough for a Pluto return, but the United States will be totally remade. And again, when we look to history, what we have going on right now between the left and the right is so reminiscent of the Germany of the 1930s. Absolutely. They don't ever come up with anything original. They rehash the past. So this really feels like we're back in that position again. And so, will we see the same sort of things? Are we going to see, outright conflict between the left and the right? What will they use to trigger it? And then again, when you have that type of situation, using the military to quell violence, using the military as a policing force, yeah, that's pretty ominous.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's very concerning, and this is something where we have to be very, very careful not to just fall back into status quo and think, oh, okay, well, everything's under control and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and I don't see anything happening. No. Be sure to continue to get yourself out of the system in some way, shape, or form, because what I saw in this is a lot of getting people, it's like a frozen spell. It's like getting people to freeze where they're at so they're not stepping outside the system any longer. They really need what they need. They need them to stay. So there was a lot of subliminal messages when it comes to that one thing all the way through that.
Absolutely. The Swedish government has ordered the military to assist police in stopping the gangs. And again, the gangs, so many of these gangs that have come in have been part of the, the immigrant-migrant illegal invasion that's well underway. Is that another aspect of this? Create the chaos and the infighting and all that. Absolutely. It's just insane. Sweden was one of the most safest places, cleanest, safest places in the world. And there's just so many brutal acts of violence that have happened since, all the migration issues have come up. And again, it's not the norm to see people migrating in the numbers that they are. There's a definitive plan behind all this. It's so obviously orchestrated. And most of the world, I think, at least most of us, I think, in the U.S. and the UK and Canada, New Zealand, Australia, we kind of get that there's something in play here. And talking about playing, yeah, Elon, he's playing you. Absolutely. This is the hope of humanity here. And David Icke says, I see all the people disappointed that Musk is not the hero they thought he was after the Israel escapade. And when I say he's the hope of humanity, that's how they're trying to portray him. And even having him and 45 kind of coming together. Oh, yeah. Again, look, nobody becomes a billionaire. And I've said this before. And somebody, a couple of people had said, you don't think anybody could become a billionaire and not do it legitimately on their own? Not that they don't have good ideas or anything or can't have a brilliant business mind. The system won't let you become that big a player in the system unless you're part of the system. And that's just the way it is. When you're talking about entertainers and, actors that are absolutely part of the secret societies, part of the system. And you're talking about people that have this much sway and power. They are the system. They are the system. Both rich enough so they can't be bought. Yeah, somebody's sound asleep.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's so sad because a lot of our family members are, entrepreneurs, and they want to go out there and they want to start their own businesses. But as they go out there to start their own businesses and do something for themselves, they realize, oh, I need a license for this. That costs so much. I need a license for that. I need a license for that. I need a license for that. And with each license, you have to meet certain criteria. So yes, you do have to meld yourself to the system. And that's just like on a small playing field. These guys are on big playing fields, so you know that they are definitely doing whatever they need to do. They are appeasing whoever they need to appease to stay at the top. And I've seen people get very upset about us saying, that, Elon is what he is, and they just get all kinds of butt hurt. But the truth is that he's not here for you.
No, and it's not like we are pretty convinced. No, we have zero doubt on this, on both of these. Are there some, again, are there the Enki-ites, so to speak, that would rather see the human slaves be treated a little bit better? Absolutely. And then there are the Enlilites that would just get rid of them all. Yeah, that is definitely the case. So there are some that are for treating humanity a little bit better than others, but they all view us as slaves. That's the bottom line. They all view us as slaves. They don't want the system changing because they're not going to be in that position of power. Just think about it. What we need is a complete change in the monetary system. The monetary system has to go. If the monetary system goes, are they going to have the same influence, wealth, and power? Do these guys have ego? Ask yourself. Are they doing things because they want to see the betterment of humanity and the planet? Are they doing it for truly altruistic reasons? Or are they ego-centered and they're really doing it because they want to be up on that stage and that pedestal? They want to be viewed in a certain light. They want everybody buzzing about them. They want center stage. It's pretty obvious, where their interests lie. It really, really is. It's just a matter of, are we caught up in it or not? Look at these guys. Wait a minute. I think somebody's watching. Don't move. He won't notice. He won't notice we're here. Just stay still. Yeah, sometimes every now and then we get to catch them. We get to catch the controllers making their moves. And, they might use technology to literally disappear in front of our eyes. Or maybe, just maybe, they try to insert different timelines. Maybe they use their technology, we know they use their technology to rewrite the history completely all the time. Again, the movie 1984 from the book 1984 does such a great example of that. They are always rewriting history, and we catch it. We get all these Mandela effect moments, and yeah, I do think there are real Mandela effect moments, but I think a lot of times it's revisionist history going on as well.
Definitely that. And I just, I look at these little guys and I think, Mother Nature is so cool to make these little creatures for us to be entertained with. I mean, they are so stinking cute. I mean, look at these guys. He's doing that, and the other guys, he's frozen in that position. They're so cute.
Absolutely, and you could just look at these guys and know, they're not that much different than us. They're in different vehicles, but the consciousness, they understand they just got caught in the act. And so, they're trying to be very inconspicuous. And, the controllers just got caught in the act. Too many people are waking up. They understand what's going on. So they're going to be very inconspicuous, and they're going to try to throw us a bone. They're going to make it look like, oh, hey, here, this looks like a good alternative. We'll give you who you want. But then again, it's still just another step to the police state. Don't forget what 45 said when he was with Klaus and Co. Very important people here. They do great things. And he called something his ouch. His ouch. Don't forget these things. Don't forget. And who was appointed to one of his positions of real interest and note, it was a Rothschild banker. A Rothschild banker. Why? Because he was indebted to them. Again, you don't get in those positions and have everything about you be squeaky clean.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste, guys. Much love.